Okay, so in this particular section now, we are looking at functions and calculus, right? Reminding ourselves, in our first session, we did look at a bit of functions, and we said that particular function question reminded us of the basic things: x-intercept, y-intercept, equation of axis of symmetry of a hyperbola, how to sketch the hyperbola, how to get equations, and all of that. So we take it a notch higher today by looking at, let's see what the next question would be. I remember we did all of this. All right, here we go. Check this. Already I see a log function. There is a log function there. And we know that when we talk about logs, what are we dealing with? Inverse. Okay. Everybody quickly get me 4.1. 4.1 is 4.1 is a level 1 question. Quickly, let's get it. Biggie, let's work. Inverse functions. Let me know when you are done. Guys, these are the marks that we said everyone should be getting. So in this kind of questions, I'm going to need us to work through. We must be done. Inverse. Let me know if you are done, guys. I'm not seeing any message saying done. Tell me if you are done quickly. Let's see if we remember the concept of inverse. Please, quickly, let's check. Do we remember the concept of inverse? The earlier we say done or lost, the quicker it will be for me to walk through with you. What do we have? Y equals to? Okay, let's check. What do we do? Inverse means anywhere you see y change to x, but we must first write this equation nicely. G of x equals to log. G of x equals to, we have log there, the base is half, and then we have x. What does this mean? Y equals to what? Log. Now, there are two ways to do this. All right, either you find x. If I'm looking for x, what would it be? So let's say method 1. This would come here and take that exponent up. What would I have? 1 over 2 to the power of what? Y equals to what? X. Now, we inverse it. Inverse means anywhere you see x, write y. Anywhere you see y, write what? X. So what am I going to have? 1 over 2 to the power of x should be equal to y. And this can be written as 2 to the power negative 1. So y is 2 to the power negative x. This is still correct. That's also correct. Please, so let's take note of that. Method 2 would be to change method 2. You said y equals to log 1 over 2x. Already, we can inverse it. Inverse simply means anywhere you see x, write y. So x will be equal to what? Log 1 over 2. I've already changed it. But we can't leave our answer like this. This half goes there. What do we have? It becomes the base. 1 over 2 x equals to y. Do you see we're back here? So the main idea is to change your x to y and y to x. Okay, Fahima, are you okay now? I just did that crash course. So what you need to know, what's important is to say that if y equals to log that, how do you get b? A to the power y is equal to b. That is the main thing. And also to know that b should be between 0. No, b cannot be less than 0. B cannot be less than 0. Actually, b cannot be less than 0 or yeah, it's fine. B cannot be less than 0. B cannot be negative. If you put a negative there, automatically you are wrong. B cannot be less than 0. So I don't know if we are okay. Lovely, Fahima, you got that. And that's it there. You get your free 2 marks there in the exam. Inverse function. And examiners are going to throw this definitely at you, you know. Inverse simply means, look, another way an examiner would ask you this is to check this. Inverse means reflect along y equals to x. So they may not tell you to write the inverse. They may just say reflect along y equals to x. It simply means what? Inverse. Because you are saying your y is equal to x, therefore your x is equal to y. Anywhere you are seeing y, you can write x. Anywhere you see x, so take note of that language there. Inverse means reflect along the y equals to x line. Everybody good there? First 2 marks in the bag. We're looking for 13. Let's see basic marks. Oh, write f of x, completing the square. I don't know if you remember this. 2x squared minus 4x minus 6. Do we remember completing the square? 2x squared. Do we remember how to complete the square? Huh? Completing the square. Let me quickly give you a crash course on this as well. Make sure that the coefficient of x squared is positive 1. That's very important. Make sure that the coefficient of x squared is positive 1. Number 2. I'll say open, or let me say create your template. Let me use that word. I'll explain what I mean. Create your template for the answer. That is squared x. That's your template. Because completing the square, examiner wants you to write it as y equals to a into bracket x plus p squared plus q. So create your template already. Number 3, divide the coefficient of x by 2. Write it in the bracket. You would see this thing is about three lines if you know your story. Square. So this one will be what? B over 2, right? Square B over 2 and subtract it. Outside the bracket. Expand, but leave your answer in the form. This is just for you to be able to go back of A Let me quickly do this for you and show you. Just hold on writing. Let me walk through it. What's the first thing? Make sure the coefficient of x is what? Positive 1. So what do? Factor out what? 2. So it means my f of x will be equal to what? 2 into bracket x squared minus 2x minus 3. Already I've done the first step. Second step, create your template for the answer. Easy. It's 2 bracket because there's a 2 there. So, pam, 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 I have my x. But the negative 3 comes outside. Make sense? The negative 3 stays outside. What do I do now? Step 4. Step 3. Divide the coefficient of x by what? 2. What's the coefficient of x? Negative 2. Divided by 2, negative 1. Next thing. Whatever answer you, that negative 1, square it. What is negative 1 squared? 1. What do? Subtract it. You must subtract it. This is the shortcut there. What do you have? X minus 1 squared. What is minus 3 minus 1? Multiply by 2. And that's your answer. We're done. I don't know if it makes sense. I should repeat. Okay, let me show you something here. When we say completing the square, we said f of x. Let me show you something. Maybe that will help you juggle your mind again. This is negative 4x minus 6. All right, so the first thing is to factorize, right? What do we have? X squared minus what? I want to show you something. 2x minus 3. Is that fine? Now, I'm going to alter this equation. Check my altering the equation. X squared. Let us divide the coefficient of x by 2. What do you get? Negative what? 1. Square it. Positive 1. Does that make sense? Now, do you notice my equation is now different? What's different? Because I added what? 1. Do you see I added 1? Where did I get that 1 from? Coefficient of x divided by 2 and then square it. In order to make this equation the same, what do? I added 1. What should I do? Subtract 1. That was a step that I skipped. But let me show you so that you see what happened. So this one here is b over 2, all what? Squared. Now, let's factorize that. The first 3. What are we going to have? 2 into bracket. If we open 2 bracket, x minus 1. Does that make sense? I'm done factorizing. What do you notice? There are 2 of them. So what should we write? This was why I said create the platform. Create a template. Can we multiply in? What do we have? 2. You don't need to expand that bracket, because you're using this 2 to multiply the first term there, and then using this 2 to multiply that. I promise you, if you expand this thing here, you are going to get that. As long as you get that answer. Okay. You said you found your turning point. What's your turning point? 1. Okay. Because these values actually represent your turning point. Your turning point is 1 and negative 8. You'll still be fine, but remember to change that sign into negative. Please talk to me. Completing the square. Are we okay with it? This is another way of getting your turning points, your P and your Q. Please let me know quickly. Can I get your responses? This is long, but you needed to understand the dynamics of what's going on before you can start doing shortcuts. Sorry? B over 2 squared. Yeah. What's your B? B is negative 2, not 2. Negative 2 divided by 2 would give you negative 1. Square it, positive 1. So you add it and you remove it. Yes, you add it so that you can get, this is called a perfect square trinomial. So that when you factorize, you're going to get the same brackets. In order to cut all of this, that's why, if you just understand, that's why I said if you can remember this, it's 2x squared minus 2x minus, this is what I do. I just open my template quickly, drop my minus 3, put my x there. What is minus 2 divided by 2? Square that 1 immediately and subtract it. You see that I'm already here. So the process is done in my head, but you must understand the process. So this is 2x minus 1 squared minus 8. Check the number of lines. 3 lines. 3 lines. So you must practice this consistently. Sometimes they do ask that. The 1 and the minus 1 is, guys, you want to create what? A perfect square trinomial. So you alter the equation by adding 1. But you must also remove that 1 because you have changed the whole question. So, Zahir and Idris, this is what we said. First thing is to make sure that the coefficient of x squared is what? Positive by factorizing. So x squared minus 2x. How do you get to? Don't forget this rule. It is b squared over 2. Negative 2 over 2 would give me what? Positive 1. But that's why I wrote it in yellow. I have changed the equation by adding what? 1. How do you rectify? So let's say I made a mistake by saying plus 1 and I don't want to clean. How do I rectify my mistake? Subtract what you have added. Make sense? So I made a mistake by saying plus 1. Oh no, I don't have eraser. What do? Mathematically, just subtract 1. But the aim is that this should give me a perfect square what? Trinomial. If I factorize, I'm going to have the same thing in the bracket, which gives me my squared. And then minus 4. Simplify. Let me know. Zahir, you requested 1 and minus 1. Are you okay, Idris? Are you okay as well? And this you can do to any trinomial equation. If you want to practice, just take any trinomial. And how do you know you are correct? You can find the turning point. If I were to find the turning point here, let's do this. Let's confirm if we are correct. Confirmation. F of x equals to what? 2x squared. How do you find turning point? Minus b over 2a. What's your b? Minus into minus 4, right? So plus 4, right? But let me write minus because somebody else would not see that we have done that. Minus, my b is negative 4 over what? 2 times 2. What's your answer? Positive 1. And that's your 1 there. That. If you then throw that 1 back into it, f of 1. 1 squared minus 4, 1 minus 6. What will this give you? Sorry? Minus 8. So minus 8 there. So you can pick any. So if you can try 3 or 4, 5, the process just gets knocked into your head. And it must knock it hard. So when you see it, you know it's your 2 mark. Guys, at this stage, we are looking for all the collectibles. You don't want to come out of the exam and say, oh, no, that's unacceptable at this moment. We're getting all our marks. This is a level 1 question again. I want you to claim all the marks we can claim. Is that okay? And we're not rushing through. We're carefully running through your marks. Okay, let's see quickly. What are we looking for next? Already we have what? Check. 6 marks in the bag. The graph of F is shifted 2 units to form P. Oh, 2 units to the left to form P. Interesting. F of x is shifted 2 units to form. Check those 2 marks again for free. F of x is shifted 2 units. Can I ask you to try? Shift that 2 units for me. F of x is shifted 2 units. What would your answer be? Okay, we need one answer. Let's shift f of x 2 units. No, what are we looking for, Bibi? We are looking for an equation. What's your final answer? We are looking for an equation. What is your final answer? What's your final answer? Okay, let me. Oh, I should do the internal which one is correct. Imagine. Guys, what does it mean? This graph is shifted 2 units to the left. When we shift to the left, what do? Plus 2. So it means anywhere you see x, basically you are saying f of x plus 2. Anywhere you see x, what do? Put x plus 2. What will it be? 2 into bracket, x plus 2 squared, minus 4 into bracket, and then you simplify. That is all. What are we going to get? 2. This is x squared plus 4x plus 4 minus 4x minus 8. Does that make sense? What will this be? 2x squared plus 8x plus 8 minus 4x. All right, let's simplify. What is 8x squared? 8x minus 4x. 8 minus 8 minus 6. 8 minus what? No, it's fine. It's minus 6 because it's 0. With that. Looks as if they are the same, but they are not. Good. You could have done that. I want us to do something here. Can we rewrite this as, let's complete the square on this. I want us to take this and complete the square. I'm going somewhere with that one. What did we do earlier on? We said, I want to repeat this concept. That's why I'm doing this now. What do we have? X squared plus 2x minus 3, right? So we create a platform already. Open a bracket. What do we have? X squared minus 3. What do we do? Shift it what? 2 units. What do we have? Plus 1 there. Are we right? Make sense? We square that, and then what? Subtract. I'm repeating that concept again. What do we have? 2 into bracket what? X plus 1 squared. This is minus 4. Minus 4 times 2. If I were to go there and just shift that again, we are saying f of x plus 2. Anywhere you see x, what do you write? X plus 2 minus 1. What do you have? But if you didn't get that one earlier on, then you cannot get this one. So guys, you see that the equations are now the same now, right? So please, it's important to just, again, it's, even if you don't get the ax plus b, what, this one is basic for every learner now, this particular method. Basic for every learner. Left means positive. Left means positive, and then we get our answer straight to UJ. If UJ knows how much I advertise, they'll pay me. All right, guys, I hope that's okay. Again, basic concept that we need to get. I don't know if we will get to calculus, but there's no need to rush, guys. We must just do what is important and get those marks. But even if we need to get through to question 8 on paper 1, the first part of calculus, that must be done today. All right? And I already posted this first lesson yesterday, right? Like I said, please go through as quickly as possible. Check this one. Write down the values of x for which log of what? Log base 2 of x is less than or equal to 0. This is quite nice. Quite tricky. All right, log, let's see. Log, okay, log of x and base 2 is less than or equal to what? 0. Let's see how to work around this. Log x of base 2 is less than or equal to what? 0. We want the values of x. And I'm going to show you how to test this. You can test your answer, guys. What would you do here? If I want to show you the basic, simple way that you can use. We're solving for x, right? So what would you say? X to 2 to the power what? 0. Now, there's a problem. If you leave your answer like this, I said something earlier on. When I spoke about b, I said log BA, but b cannot be less than 0. So you've got to restrict this by saying, you don't get, okay, wait, let's try something. We're looking for the value of x such that this whole thing should be what? Less than or equal to what? 0. Okay, if I leave my answer like this, we're saying x is less than or equal to 1. Let's get a calculator to test it. That's it there, right? 2. Okay, we said x should be less than or equal to 1. Let's put 1. Do you know what your answer is here? 0. Now, that's a rule of logs. Now, anything less than 1. Give me a number less than 1. 0,5. Let's start from positive values. What's your answer? See, your answer is negative 1, which means it is less than 0. Let's try something. 0. Because we are saying x is less than 1. So I'm putting numbers that are what? Less than 1. So this value here cannot be less than what? 0. It must always be positive. So if you leave your answer like this, you are opening negative answers, including 0. So you must restrict it because you know that rule, that this value must always be positive. So we can choose any number between, please so make a note there. All right, just make it like this. Make this note. That, or you can must be positive. Just put a note there. B would not be negative. And there's another rule of log that I can show you here where we talk about the inverse. But just if you can remember it this way, you'll be good. So we just did the normal solving, right? By bringing the 2 there. We got that. But we remember that, this value can never, ever be less than what? 0. And we're done. Less than 1. How many marks is this? Biggie says, what if you didn't write that? See that you get the whole thing wrong? It's 2 marks. All right. You would get 1 out of 2. But we are saying, now that you know this, you should get the 2 marks. Right? Now that we know this. So when you see logs, let that ring in your head. That, remember that value must not be less than what? 0. It cannot be 0. Because 0 would give you what? An error. Okay, let's quickly look at the last one. I think I want to go to calculus now. I thought I would look at another functions question, but let me see. I need to get to calculus quickly. If H is the reflection of G, the inverse, about the x-axis. Okay, I know that already we've lost it there. Just by that first statement, already like, But like I did yesterday, let's take it step by step. If H is the reflection of G inverse. Wait, did we get the inverse of G? What was it? 2 to the power what? Negative x. Or we said half to the power what? X. Right? Good. So we already know this one as what? 1 over 2 to the power of what? X. Or we said 2 to the power what? Negative x. Okay. Now we are reflecting that about the what? X. Let's remember the rule of reflection about the x. Good. If you reflect about the x, you keep the x and what? Change the y. Make sense? You keep the x and you do what? Change the y. Interesting. Okay, we'll come back to this, slide number 25. So what are we saying here? We're saying the G that we got what? 1 over 2 what? X. Now, let us reflect along the X. What do we do? Keep X. Change what? But mind you, the whole thing is y, right? So it means my h of x is, I just multiply the whole thing by what? By negative. Is that okay? All right? So that's the first interpretation of the question. But let's go ahead and check what the examiner now wants. And I'm going to ask you to do something for me now. For which values of x will what? H of x, which is our new function, minus f prime of x be equal to what? 3. H of x minus f prime of x be equal to 3. H of x minus f prime of x. Guys, quickly, let's revise calculus. And I'm not doing anything now, you are doing it. What is my f of x? That. Please quickly find me f prime of x. Everybody, write your answers down. F prime of x. Yeah, f prime means you derive. We are looking for f prime. Quickly, have we derived? All right, what's our derivative? Two x. Okay. All right. Anybody? All right. Yes. 4x minus 4. Beautiful. 4x minus 4. What is my h of x, by the way? Negative. Or we can have negative what? 2 to the power what? Negative x minus. Okay. Guys? No. What am I doing here? It's equal to what? 3. Equal to what? How do you solve for x? Sorry? Oh, sorry. My 4. Okay, sorry. Okay, try to solve for x, everybody. I'll give you a minute or two. Try to solve for x. Solve for x. Solve for x. Everybody solve for x. Sorry? You got? X equals to 0. How? You just got 0. But how? Oh, no, it's supposed to be actually be in brackets. Sorry, you're correct. Because it's minus that. Sorry, my bad. So minus 4x plus 4. Okay? Okay, wait. I need your, you took the 4 over. So you have what? Negative 2 to the power negative x minus 4x equals to what? Yep. Okay. Negative half to the power negative x minus 4x. What did the source is the sign? I wanted something that you did. No, tell me. You know you can always tell me what you did. Quickly. Guys, we are back at where we started yesterday, if you notice. Where you have an exponent and a linear. This was the first thing we did yesterday, where we were ranting left and right. Do you remember how we solved that question? No. If we remember, we multiplied that one out. It gave us an exponent. I remember it was 6 over x minus 2 equals to 3 to the power. Do you see? This is an exponent. By the time you multiply, you have an exponent. Once you see this, please, let's stop algebra there. Stop. Don't go. Remember what we did yesterday? We used what? A graph. Good. Let's try to draw a graph and see. Let's draw a graph and see. So I want you to just take note of when you see things like this now. You know what I've done? Exposed to you quickly that, if I'm seeing a mixture of x as an exponent and x as a base, my algebra will not be able to save me here. Let me think graphically. Is that okay? All right. So do you notice we have two functions here? H of x and what? F prime of x. This will help us revise. H of x. I just love these questions. H of x minus what? F prime of x equals to 3. Do you remember what our H of x is? Or what? Or negative 2. Is that fine? Okay. And this one was what? 4x minus 4. Let's quickly sketch. Let's sketch our graph and see something that maybe we can find a way out. And I'm glad if we find a way out, you would have learned that, okay, when I see things that look strange, instead of me doing my algebra, having an algebra headache, maybe I could solve it. Okay, which one do you want us to sketch first? Let's get h of x. And it's very easy to sketch, guys. What you do is find your x and y what? Intercept, if it exists. All right, so y equals to negative. Do you want to substitute x as 0 there for me quickly? Negative 1. Okay, so it means my graph must be there. Negative what? 1. What else? If you are not sure, you have used 0. Let me just show you baby steps. If you are not sure, just find a few of these values. Can you put x as 1 there? What do you have? Just want to show you baby steps here. Negative? A half. All right. So when x is 1, you are getting negative a half, which is right there. Make sense? Good. When x is 2, negative, so it's going up. I don't know if you see that, right? Come back to negative 1. When x is negative 1, what are you going to get? I hope what I'm doing makes sense. You're just trying to quickly create a sketch. Negative what? 2. When x is negative, oh, I see what's happening. I don't know if you see a shape already. Do you see a shape already? That your graph is this. Does that make sense to you? That's my graph. So we're done with that one. H of what? X. Let's sketch f prime of x. Already this is a straight line. Do you see that? And my C is what? Negative 4. So I know my graph is there. Watch this. Can we find our x-intercept there? Okay, our second graph is y equals to what? 4x minus 4. Our x-intercept, we said y should be what? 0. So 0 equals to, just, guys, I want you to enjoy how to be creative in maths. 4 equals to what? 4x. X equals to what? 1. X equals to 1. So this graph is like this. It's a straight line graph. How do I know it's a straight line? Mx plus c. And if you derive a parabola, you'd get a straight line. What does this mean? Now, we are looking for a place where the distance between them, difference between these two functions, is 3. What is the x value at that point? Done. Okay, I like the word you used. You were that you assume it is 0. What's wrong? No, she said assume that it is 0. I said I like the word she used, assumption. But check. Guys, I don't know if this makes sense. I don't know what you learned between yesterday and today. That when you get stuck algebraically, especially when it comes to functions, what do? Sketch. And it's very easy to sketch. Just look for x and y. Look for your coordinates, look for your intercept, look for any point. Just get the shape of the graph, and you're done. Did this make sense? Those of us at home? That we are looking for where the difference between the graph is what? 3. And it makes sense. Go to that equation and substitute 0. You're going to get what? 3. So please, let's learn to be creative when it comes to mathematics. That's what math is all about. For sketching the graph, they should even give you... No. It's math. In fact, they should give you extra marks for using graph. That, this child knows what she's doing. Let's give her +2. Ashley, we said if you don't, when you see things like this where you have exponents and linear, please just use graphs. So all we did was to sketch the graph of y equals to, and already I know that this graph is an exponential graph. Do you know that? Okay, everybody, y equals to -1/2x. I know it's an exponential, and an exponential has an asymptote, a horizontal one. We spoke about that yesterday. Horizontal asymptote plus what? 0. It means that this graph will never, ever touch that axis. Why? That is my asymptote. That's why this graph kept, you see the way it's bending? It will continue to bend like that. It will not touch because of my asymptote. So we sketch that graph. And then we sketch the graph of 4x minus 4. I'm sure you know how to sketch. That's a straight line graph. 4x minus 4. Even if you are not sure if it's a straight line graph, find your x-intercept, find your y-intercept, find any other point in between. You will get a straight line. Sketch those graphs. This one is saying h of x minus f prime of x equals to 3. The distance between those two graphs must give you what? 3. The y value and the y value there. The difference between the two y values should give you what? 3. That's what that means. That the vertical distance should be what? 3. So you go back to your graph and check, where would the difference be 3? It is just what? When x equals to 0. All right, I just re-explained. Ashley and Tesmia, I don't know if we got it. Are we okay? Please let me know. It's all about sketching graphs, guys. Do you know how to sketch a graph? That's what we're saying. And in sketching graphs, you'll only need 2 important things. X-intercept, Y-intercept. If you are not sure, just find some extra points. Automatically, you see the shape. But you must also know the equations of, like we did yesterday. When you see an equation, can you identify that what type of graph you have? Is that okay? So looking at my y already, I see it's an exponent. Why? My x is an exponent, right? And I know that an exponential graph has only one asymptote, which is the horizontal asymptote. I look for my point. See, I didn't want to do as if we know. That's why I said, okay, let's use simple points in an exam. 0, 1, 2, -1, -2. Already you saw the shape of the graph forming by itself. And then we looked for 4x minus 4, which is a straight line graph. We're looking for the vertical distance as 3. I want you to learn something here quickly. Don't waste time when you see a mixture of exponent and a normal base equation. You should now start thinking, oh, we've done this twice, and I don't have extra time in the exam. Can I quickly just try my graphs? We okay, everybody? All right. Beautiful. That was that. But other than that, like I said, all these other questions are basic. See the first 4.1, 4.2, 4.3. We all should get those marks. Now, including 4.4, knowing that what? There is a restriction. X cannot be less than 0. And number 5, we used what? Graphs. Interpret step by step. If it's going to waste your time, you leave it in the exam and come back to it later. But at least in your mind, you're thinking, I know I must choose a graph. I know I must choose a graph. And once you know that you must choose a graph, actually you're saving time now. While others are still busy trying to use wrong algebra, log and what, you just graph quickly, pa, pa, pa. What do you need for graph? Intercepts. Look for points. It gives you the shape of the graph already. And you are able to maneuver your way through. Okay. That was that inverse function. We did hyperbola. Okay, this is another inverse function. Can we try this? I just want... I need us to... I like quality than doing so many things. Let's do this, then we do first principle alone. Okay? F of x equals to minus x plus 3. Let's try to run through this together. 10 minutes or so. G of x. Again, do you see what we have? An inverse what? Function. On the same set of axes, sketch the graph of f and g. Guys, it's 4 marks. I want to give you 4 minutes. I'll talk to you after 4 minutes. Give me something we are going to mark together. You would mark yours with whatever I do. Please, let's work. 4 minutes. I just spoke about sketching graphs right now. Look for intercepts. Let's sketch the graph. And if you're smart, you can use your calculator to sketch as well. But do you really need all of that, though? You can quickly sketch. Let's try. After today, we'll become extra smart. If you are done, let me know. Guys, don't start measuring. It's just a sketch. Okay. Are we done? It's a sketch. Are we done? Please respond. Oh, done. Sweet. All right, let's check. What are we sketching? All right, so we sketching two functions. Let's see. What do we have? We have f of x equals to what? Negative x plus 3. Can we sketch this together? What do we need? X-intercept and y-intercept, right? So y equals to negative x plus 3. It's a straight line graph again. When x is 0, what happens? Y is positive what? 3. Already I know my graph is going to touch that point 3. What about when y is 0? When y is 0, what would x be? Oh, what did I do right now? Okay. X will be equal to 3, right? What about when x is 0? Minus 0 plus 3. Y will also be equal to what? 3. So already I have my first graph. Examiner says show all intercepts. I wanted to see how easy it is to get that first mark, and you have to label your graph. Your graph continues. It continues. What is this? F of x. Now, what are we sketching? G of x equals to what? Log. Is that fine? Look, if you are not sure of what to do here, this is y equals to what? Is that okay? Start by putting a 0 there. What do you get? Lies. If you put log of 0 base 2, that is if you are finding inverse. Inverse is when you make x y and y x. Okay, if you want to remove log, what do you say? 2 to the power y equals to x. Yeah? Yeah, this and this are still the same. Okay, if you say that, whichever way it works. When x equals to 0, what do you have? This would be an error. No, you can't just skip. What do you mean skip the x part? You need to sketch a graph. What do you need? Intercept. Okay, can we get x? Wait, can we? Okay, what's your y-intercept? Why are we not looking for y-intercept? We need to confirm first, which we just did. X cannot be equal to what? 0. Right. Now, this was supposed to be our y what? Intercept. Now, can we find x-intercept? Y has to be what? 0. So, 0 equals to that. Your x will be equal to what? 1. Right? Good. So, x equals to 1. The question is, how will this graph look? I want to show you guys that you don't need to cram. You are not sure of what this graph would look like, right? Good. Look, if you are not sure, already we said the graph has no y-intercept. It means my graph is here. Can you substitute 2? What are you going to get? When x is 2, you cannot get 4. See, that's why you need to do it. Use your calculator. When x is 2, what do you have? You'll have 1. So when x, I'm trying to say you don't cram these graphs. When x is 2, y is what? 1. So your graph is somewhere here. Does that make sense? When x is 3, what is your y? Quickly. I want you to just see how to. 1 comma, which is somewhere right there, right? We don't really have to, we're just looking for, already, I don't know if you've seen the shape of your graph. Meanwhile, you know log is the inverse of what? An exponential. So your graph must be a curve. Now, do you see that I already have the shape of my graph already? And my graph is not going to touch the y-axis. Why? There is no y what? Intercept. Check how easy it is to sketch your graph now. Just by using baby steps, g of x. Okay, is your graph like this? Okay, fine. Whatever method you use, just get the right answer. Right? But I see that your graph went here first. Okay, guys. So please check. Already we have 4 marks. Do you see that, guys? Check how easy. Please, do you understand what I mean by there are some marks that are basic for everyone, no matter what? And those are the kind of marks we're talking about. Everyone should get those 4 marks. Do we agree? All right. I hope everyone is okay, guys. Just use simple coordinates to help yourself. All right. Write down the equation of g prime of x. Oh, can we do that? Please write that for me. 2 marks. Get your 2 marks quickly. Huh? I don't know. Just do this one for me, baby. I don't know whether it's the same as the other one. Do this one afresh. And don't assume that it's the same. Assume. Inverse of g. Quickly. Come, everybody. 2 marks. 2 marks. Inverse of g. Because I want us to mark. Inverse. Are you done? Okay. Inverse. What do we know from here that Biggie said we should do? 2 to the power y equals to what? X. So already we know that what? 2 to the power y equals to x. How do we find the inverse? Anyway, red y. Anywhere we see y? Red. So what do we have? 2 to the power x. Are you still assuming that it's the same as the other one? Because it's not the same. Done. We get our 2 marks there. Quickly. Let's look at 6.3. Please, guys. Thank you, Mary. Guys, there are some marks that you should actually beat yourself for losing now in an exam. Especially looking at this revision. Explain how you will use 6.1 and 6.2. Please look at this type of questions. I want us to say something. Log 2, 3 minus x equals. How would you solve this equation? It looks hectic, ne? But let's see. Every time you see functions like this, right? And an examiner comes below, it will happen again in trig. Always rewrite this in terms of or your original functions. You will see your answer coming up. What do I mean? F of x is negative x plus 3, right? And g of x is log 2x. Let me quickly write my functions here. What is my f of x again? Negative x plus 3. What is our g of x? Okay, log of base 2. Now, examiner says, how will you solve log 2? Let's see something, guys. Let's check something. Let's try to get rid of the logs. What would you say? Huh? Okay. What? All right. 3 minus x equals to 2 to the power of what? X. Right? 3 minus x. Wait. Is there 3 minus x? Do we have 3 minus x? Go back to the original equation. Minus x plus 3 is the same thing as 3 minus x. Yeah, is it the same? It's the same. It's still the same. 2 minus 5 and minus 5 plus 2. It's the same. We're not assuming minus x plus 3 is the same as 3 minus x, because your x is negative and your 3 is positive. So basically, this is what? F of x. Okay. Equals to, wait, have we seen 2 to the power x today in this question? Where did we see it? No. It's the inverse of g. No. Okay. I'll stop arguing. Wait, do you know that we have simply changed all of this into an equation? Do you see what I did there? That's what the examiner is hiding. Now, how would you solve this? We are already done. When they are equal, what are we looking for? Point of intersection. So give the instruction, because the examiner, check the question. Don't lose sight of the question. The examiner says, explain how you will use 6.1 and 6.2 to solve that equation. And already we rewrote this equation as what? What did we write? F of x equals to what? The inverse of g. Oh, so what would I say? I would say find, because we are explaining, the inverse of g of x. And I'll say the point of intersection of g inverse of x and what? F of x is the solution. Done. But you can do this calculation for them if you want to show your skill. That examiner, don't come here and do your foot thinking we don't know maths. Show the examiner you know your maths. There we go. I hope it makes sense. When you see those equations, it will happen again in trig. In fact, I just sent a question to your group right now again. It's a trig function, and it's just the same way. Rewrite the equation you are given in terms of what? F of x and g of x. You'll be done. I hope it makes sense. So we're saying f of x equals to what? The inverse of g. So find the inverse of g and what? Point of intersection between that and f of x. So a lot of these things require you just being extra creative in an exam. No one really teaches all of this, but it's just creativity. But now you know, once it's a function, once a trig function, if you see any equation at the bottom there, what do? Rewrite your equation in terms of what? F. This is where algebra still plays a big role. Let's look at the final one. Unfortunately, we won't look at calculus today, but I think sealing all of this is still important. Write down the equation solution to what? log that minus that. All right. Hold on. I want to see something. Let's see. If you want to solve this, what would you do? I think we're almost solving this earlier on, right? 3 minus x equals to 2 to the power x. Do you notice we already have something similar? This is the third time we're doing this in 2 days. That you have an exponent and you have a linear x. What do? Use your graph. We see that already, right? Let's check if we can use the graph to find it. Yeah. By the way, hold on. What graph was this? Okay, I just want to quickly recreate this page. Let's see something here. I want you to see this graph, guys. I want you to appreciate what I'm going to do for you here. So we are saying, already we are seeing that the examiner is creating another problem. What do? Use what? Use? Solve how? We use the graph, right? However, what graph are we? Vicky. Okay, guys, let's solve this quickly. We want to solve what? 3 minus x equals to 2 to the power x. But this one, we say this one is what? The inverse. Quickly, let me show you as I round up now. If you are given g of x, how do you sketch g prime of x? No, sorry, not g prime. G inverse of x. We swap the coordinates. If I look at this coordinate, what's this coordinate here? No, this one is what? Okay. X is 1, y is 0. It means I should have what? This is what I did. Already swapped. What is this one? X is 2, y is 1. What would I have? 1 and 2. Let's check if we can get the shape already. When x is 0, y is 1. So we're looking at that. Does that make sense to you? When x is 1, y is 2. Somewhere there. Are we together? Now, one thing I want you to see again is this. Do you notice this graph is moving towards what? Negative y. Right? Your graph should be moving towards negative x. You're just replacing everything. I don't know if I'm Bunga, you look lost. What is your asymptote here? It's a vertical asymptote. You see that we're saying there was no y-intercept, right? So here we say no y what? What's the inverse? No x-intercept. Get it? So my graph would look like this. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? What was this point of intersection? It was 2 and 1. Do you know where this point of intersection would be? It will be 1 and 2. This is my g prime of x. Everything is just opposite. Remember, we are looking for what? The solution, which is the point of intersection between the yellow and the red. What's our answer? X equals to 1. And we can try. What is 3 minus 1? 2. What is 2 to the power 1? 2. Both equal. When you ask, guys, I just want you to learn I want you to learn the power of graphs. It's a lot easier than algebra. Because it's difficult to solve that question using algebra. Make sense? So if these graphs are intersecting at 2 and 1, by the time I turn it around, where will they be intersecting? 1 and 2. And we said our point of, when we say f of x equals to g of x, we are looking for point of intersection. If it was? Like How? What do you mean by if x is another number? If you have a question, guys, I'm done. If there's a question, let me know. It won't work. Yes. Because when x is 5, check, they're not going to intersect at that point. When x is 5, your 5 is somewhere far here. Your graph is not going to intersect there. When x is 5, they will be intersecting somewhere. In fact, there's no intersection because this graph is what? When x is 5, maybe somewhere up there. Do you see where it's going? Yeah. There, somewhere there. So it is always easy when you, right now you should, we've done this is the third time. And I think you should have learned. Doing this the third, and this is all, it's coincidental. I don't know. I don't know. Guys, but I hope you've learned this here. That when you have things like this, your linear x and your exponent x, your quickest way is to solve what? Graphically. I hope we've learned that, guys. And now you also know how to sketch your graph and also your inverse function. Your domain becomes your range. If this is close to negative y, it will be close to negative x. No y-intercept here, no x-intercept. And what do you do here? Inverse your point and you're done. Sketch your graph. A lot of questions will come like this. And that's why we said the inverse, let me just finalize here. The inverse of a function, all right, is the reflection along the line y equals to x. That's your line. So instead of the examiner saying inverse, what would they say? That the graph is reflected along the line y equals to x. Sweet. X equals to 1. That's where they intercept. Remember, that is point of intersection. Between what? F of x and g inverse of x. Guys, I'm done. Next session, I think we'll look at calculus now. Calculus, applications, probability, and finance. But I hope you learned one or two things again here from just looking at functions for an hour or so. Well, I hope it was worth your time. We revised again a few concepts. And yeah, that's it. Any question, guys? Please give me feedback. Let me hear from you. Are you okay? Did it make sense?